Hey YouTube, what's going on? Hope everyone is doing well. Well, I'm coming back with another video and we're going to talk about pain. You know, I've always used to hear how pain can force someone to seek some type of change so that he or she can no longer experience the pain, and that's natural. Who would want to continue to experience pain? Who would want to continue to, experience the effects of being hurt? So I'm going to share an experience of how one time I went through something that was very painful and created opportunity for change. A friend of mine who I knew for years, this is a person who I've known for at least 15 or so years. Him and I one day, we were together, and he was a very creative person, and in his creativity, he was a writer, he a musician, he loved to rap. And one time I was hanging out with him, and we got into what was called a freestyle rap session, a freestyle cipher, And it was completely a cappella, meaning no beats, no music was playing in the background. It was just myself, him, and about 3 or 2 of his friends from what I can remember. 3 of his friends, actually, right? And what I did was, from listening to them rhyme their raps, I was so inspired, and then I jumped in, and I was rhyming. I was the last one in the cipher to go, but it was fun. It was a moment of, just forget about being judged or whatever. Everything was flowing. I got into it because they inspired me to do it. That's how good they were. That's how nice they were in their craft. So long story short, during that session, back then, he took a picture of himself on the phone before the session ended, and he passed around the phone to show a picture of himself, to all of us. And it was, when I looked at the picture, it was eerie because he took a picture of his face. Half his face was the lighting, based on how he was sitting. Half his face, you could see half his face from the lighting, from how it landed on his face, and the other half was dark, right? So I paused for a second. I looked at it for a couple seconds and didn't think anything of it, and gave him back his phone, and, the night concluded, and I went about my business. I went home. A couple days later, that was during the weekend when we were together. So a couple days later, one day I'm at the office at my job, and I get a call from his friend, one of his friends who was there that night, and his friend calls me and tells me that, my friend got shot. He got shot and he's not doing well. He's in critical condition in the hospital. He took 2 shots to the chest and 1 in the head. Needless to say, my day was ruined. I was upset, very upset, so I left the job and went straight to the hospital. I went on my break. I just took a break, and that break turned into my lunch hour, and I just went to the hospital. to go see him. Man, when I got to the hospital, because you want to know what happened. How did this happen? I was just with bro a couple days ago. So what happened, right? And so I get to the hospital, and I get to the room. I'm hearing the sounds. The hospital is an eerie place. The smell of the hospital, the machines, the people, the staff. It's just a somber and gloomy place. And right before I get to the room, there's just activity, and I feel myself getting more anxious because I want to get to the room. I get to the room, I see him on the bed. A bunch of tubes connected to machines, and tubes are in him, and I look at his face. I couldn't even recognize him because his face was so swollen, as if someone pumped air into his face, into his head. It's the size of a large watermelon. And that's when I knew that, I was never my friend was never gonna be right again. Over the phone, when I was hearing when I was conversing with his friend, and we were talking, and the details I was getting wasn't very much. I asked, what happened? Is he gonna make it or whatever? And I had to see for myself. And once I went there and I saw for myself, I said, oh my God. Oh man. His mom showed up. First of all, let me go back. I'm at the hospital. I'm right by his bed, and I know he couldn't even hear me, but I said a prayer. I said a prayer to him to help him pull through, and I didn't know what to say in a situation like that. I just wanted to give just some form of support. If he could hear me, I wanted him to at least hear something positive and heartfelt. I was just a mess. It was just no words could really describe the feelings that what I was going through. So I leave the hospital, and I was in a daze. I was just in a daze. How I got home, I don't even remember. I don't even remember how I made it home. I was just replaying a bunch of events of how it even led up. I went to work. I got to my office. I get this call, and everything just turned upside down. The following day. Oh, let me go back. Before, when I left the hospital, I saw his mom. As I was walking away, I saw his mom jump out of a cab, and she just ran across the street against traffic. She just ran across the street, right to the hospital. I could hear her just saying, my baby, my baby, my baby. She's running into the hospital, just hysterically crying. I left. I get home. The next day, I get another call from another good friend of his who tells me that our friend didn't make it. He didn't make it. He succumbed to the gunshot wounds.